Today I have 17 Lattafa fragrances and I'm going to rate them they're in order from sort of my least favorite all the way to the end. This is obviously going to be subjective. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're in order from worst to best, more like my least favorite to favorite. There's a bunch of them. I'm going to try to go quickly, but do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Give the video a like if you get something out of it, and let me know in the comments what are your favorite Lattafa Maison Alhambra fragrances, maybe even your least favorite. All right, let's get into this big list. Okay, first up, this one is at the bottom of the list just because it's not blended very well, but for the price, I paid $12.50 on Fragrance Buy a year and a half ago or so. This is a clone of Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. It's Maison Alhambra, Amber, and Leather. I mean, pretty much the fragrance profile is there. You've got, obviously, amber leather. You've got the violet accord. You've got some saffron, cardamom, or maybe not saffron, actually. But you've got all of that fragrance profile, but it's just not blended very well. It's not very smooth. But for $12.50, it's an insane deal. And I think you can often get it for $15 or less. All right, next up. This one is a clone of Parfums de Marly Herod, and again, it's near the bottom of the list just because it doesn't have the quality or the texture, the complexity of the Parfums de Marly, obviously. So I would say this one is an average clone, but you can get it for $18 on Amazon, and that's absolutely insane. This is Hercules by Maison Alhambra. And for 18 bucks, I mean, listen, it's a good tobacco sweet, lightly spiced fragrance. Not a whole lot to complain about. For $18, it's a steal. All right, next, this is one that's only at the bottom of the list because it's changed quite a bit over the last couple years. It's become significantly more oudi than it was whenever I got it, so I like it less than I did whenever I got it. This is a clone of Maison Martin Margiela's By the Fireplace. This is Lattafa's Amir Al Oud Intense. Now this is still a good fragrance. I still wear it, but I don't wear it super often because I have a lot of fragrances, but also because it's so amazingly strong. This thing will stay on your skin 12, 15, 24 hours. It's just insane. But if I spray more than 3 or 4 sprays of this, it's absolutely overpowering. Again, Amir Al Oud Intense By the Fireplace clone. Smoky woods and marshmallow sweetness. It's pretty much what you get. All right, next. I'll go with one that is a clone of Tom Ford's Bitter Peach. And as time has gone on and I've worn this more, I think I do like the fragrance profile better of Bitter Peach, although this one performs better. It's a little more powdery. It's got a little more peach, actually. This is Maison Alhambra's Bright Peach. Still a great fragrance, definitely unisex, maybe even leaning feminine. I haven't actually worn it very much for those reasons. And next, I'll go with one that I think is done very, very well. And it's pretty close to the Tom Ford that it is cloning, Neroli Portofino. But again, it's one I ended up not wearing that much. It also is unisex, maybe leaning slightly feminine. I have several fragrances in this style, and a couple of them I just like significantly more. This is Porto Neroli by Maison Alhambra. It's a good clone. You can usually pick it up really cheap, and I still recommend it, but it's near the bottom of my list of those that I really love. All right, next. This one has been called a clone of La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. I haven't smelled Bleu Electrique, but it's definitely a La Nuit de l'Homme inspired fragrance. And I'll tell you what, this one has gotten extremely better as it has been worn. One of my sons wears this almost every day. In the last few months, I smell it and it's so complex. It's kind of blowing my mind, although I don't wear it that much. So this is Ijazi Silver, Ijazi Intensive Silver. by Lattafa, and it's Lanouille de L'Homme, but as it's developed, it's got a little bit of a leathery vibe. There's an ambroxan in here, like there is with Bleu Electrique. It's a great pickup, and you can usually get it for less than $20, so check it out. All right, next, I think I'll put this one here. I have several fragrances that smell like this. It actually smells really good. It's a vanilla-based fragrance. It's got some interesting resinous. I think it's got a little bit of frankincense in it. It's actually a clone of Invictus Victory, and this is Victorioso Victory. So it's a good clone. I haven't ended up wearing it that much. I was hoping for a little more rich, sweet vanilla, but I actually wore it a couple days ago. It's a good fragrance and a good clone. Okay, next, I'll go with one we're at about the middle of the list right now. This one is a great clone of Yves Saint Laurent Y Le Parfum. The only difference that I can notice is in the opening, there's not as much of the sparkly, sweet citrus that you get in the Yves Saint Laurent. So this is Ya Parfum, a great clone at an incredible price, right around $20. For a while, I was looking out for F Le Parfum, and I never found it in stock for the longest, so I picked this up. Definitely happy with it, but I do love that sparkly sweet orange overload in the Yves Saint Laurent, but this one's still very close, and after the first 10 minutes, it's almost indistinguishable from the OG. Okay, next, let's see, let's go with this one. This one is just a pineapple bomb. It's not really a clone of anything. Some have called it a clone of Aventus, but it's really not. It's just got powerful pineapple all the way through the fragrance, but it's also got some darkness. It's got some woods and specifically some oud that permeates the fragrance. This is Caed Al Fursan, and this is just a pineapple bomb with some dark oudiness. Very appropriate for spring and summer, but it's strong enough, and this is a strong fragrance. You can also wear it all year round, winter and fall. So this one is also a great pickup. Okay, so we're getting into all of these really, I do think are good fragrances, and I would recommend the majority of them, but we're getting in now to kind of the cream of the crop that I own of the 17 that I have. This next one is a clone of Initio's Oud for Greatness. This is Badi Al Oud for Glory. And, there's a number of houses that have come out with their version of an oud fragrance like this. Parfums de Marly has one. Several houses do. And I can't tell that much of a difference between a lot of them. There's little nuances, but this one I can tell you is super close to the Initio. It's great quality. It's oud, saffron, spice. It's very powerful. It's got great longevity. It's probably a 10 plus hour fragrance easily. Badi Al Oud for Glory, a great pickup. I think you can still get it for around $25. I'm going to try to put links to as many of these as I can in the description. All right, next. This is another clone of one of the Y fragrances. It's sort of in between like Y EDP and Y Live. This is Fakar Black by Lattafa. And this one right here is, again, a great performing fragrance. It's like an 8-hour fragrance. It's got a lot of the characteristics from Y EDP, but there's something about that, the sweet apple, and even how the sage is done in the Yves Saint Laurent, that this one doesn't quite nail it. But what I will often do is wear Y EDP on one side. I'll wear Fakar Black on the other side. It's a great pickup, and again, super cheap and a great performer. Okay, next, we're going to go with one that was one of the first clones of Sauvage Elixir. I think Alexandria's may have come out first. I think it actually did. I still think Alexandria's is a touch closer and it's more powerful as far as performance goes, but this one's still a killer clone, super cheap, low $20 range usually. This is Sauvage Elixir Lattafa Assad. And if you like that spicy, aromatic fougere, you know, the licorice, there's also some vanilla, some sweetness, some spiciness. This is a great fragrance. I actually wear it a little bit in warmer weather, but I think it really shines in fall and winter. Great pickup right here. It's gotten a lot of love, a lot of hype for good reason. Lattafa Assad. Okay, next, this one's a brand new pickup, and this one was very surprising because I think I paid $18 for this on Amazon. I couldn't believe it. This is a clone of African Leather by Memo. I have Alexandria's clone, which is phenomenal. I mean, almost indistinguishable quality and everything is there. This one, the quality is lower and the texture and just, again, that high-end complexity is not there from the Memo, but the fragrance profile of Afro Leather by Maison Alhambra, what you smell in the air, this as compared to the original, you really can't tell the difference. And really, unless you're doing side by side, you know, the differences are going to be very minor. It's still a great clone for $18. It's absolutely insane. I love this fragrance profile, one of my favorite leather fragrances. And, you know, now I don't have to worry about how much I wear it because 100 mil for, I think, $18 on Amazon. I will put a link. All right, so now we're getting into what I would consider to be the best of the best. The first one I'm going to mention, some of you will really take issue with, but I can tell you my bottle, especially after having it for a few months, it has strengthened like crazy. This is an 8-hour performer on me now. This is Lattafa Nashit. It's a clone of Nishane Annie or Ani. It's basically vanilla and lemon in the opening, sort of like a lemon meringue pie, but then this spicy ginger comes in, you know, 15, 20 minutes in. You retain a little bit of the citrus, but it becomes more of a spiced vanilla fragrance. This is very similar, I would say 90% close to Ani. And although whenever I first got it, it was like a 3 or 4 hour performer, it has way increased in strength and longevity, and I think this is a great pickup. Again, another one you can get in the, I think, low $20, maybe mid $20 range. Next up, we've got one that's a clone of Parfums de Marly Sedley. The opening is extremely similar. The dry down, this Lattafa, which is Mahir Legacy. It might be Mahir Legacy Silver. I'll put the right name on the screen, but Mahir Legacy, and this one is a little spicier in the dry down than the Parfums de Marly, but it's still very close, even though it's maybe a twist on that DNA. Mahir Legacy, you've got this horsehead presentation. It's kind of love it or hate it. I don't necessarily love it, but I love the fragrance. It's this bright, juicy citrus in the opening, and then it goes into some fresh spicy and even some warm spiciness in the dry down. It's a great all year round fragrance. You know, it's blue fragrance DNA, and it's got some complexity and some development, which I really appreciate. Okay, next up, these are my two favorites. I think these are the two best. This one was one of the first clones of Angel Share that came out. Some people are now saying it's not a clone of an Angel Share. It's a clone of a clone twist on Angel Share. But, I mean, look at the bottle, smell the fragrance. It is a clone of Angel Share, but it's a twist. It's probably 75 to 80% similar. It's a powerful fragrance. It's incredibly long-lasting. This is, of course, Lattafa Camra. It is marshmallowy sweetness and vanilla and booze and cinnamon and other spices. It is powerful, no exaggeration. I wore this last night. I took a hot shower this morning. I scrubbed. I got out and sprayed something on this arm that I'm testing, and I was smelling, even after 12 hours in a shower, I'm smelling Camra stronger than the fragrance that I actually sprayed on this morning. The performance on this is insane. I love it. I've got a few other clones of Angel Share. I still like this one better, even though I've got some that are closer. It's so rich, it's so vibrant, it's so powerful. There's a reason it's gotten so much hype, Lattafa camera, and the price has come way down. You can get it in the 20s even on Amazon now. Killer pickup, beautiful presentation. And finally, my favorite fragrance by Lattafa, Maison Alhambra, is a clone of my favorite Tom Ford fragrance, Tobacco Vanille, and this one is so good. It's so rich and spicy and sweet, beautiful tobacco, rich, dark vanilla. This is Tobacco Touch by Maison Alhambra. Unfortunately, I think it's been discontinued, but you can still pick it up, and I would highly recommend it. It's a great performer. If you like that, smack you in the face spiciness from the Tom Ford, then you're going to love this one. I love this one. My favorite Lattafa Maison Alhambra fragrance, Tobacco Touch. But I want to know, what are your favorites from Lattafa? Remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't done that. My name's Justin. This is Sillage Scents. I'll see you on the next one.